Tonight's starting lineup sponsored by Discount Tire Company. Visit Discount Tire Company on the web by logging on to discounttire.com. Discount Tire, low prices, more choices, and the best brands. Greg Ostertag, the starting center. Carlos Boozer is out for Utah. The Suns, 3 new starters there on the board, and the 3 newcomers with crucial hoops down the stretch against the LA Lakers. And Mike D'Antoni signing the contract extension, adding 2 more years to his deal. And he signed that agreement with Robert Sarver on Robert Sarver's charter plane. And we're up and away from the Delta Center. Oh, quick tap. They're ready to get this game going, Mr. Marley.
Glad we're back. Southwest Broadcasting. Just being on the air, we're back here in Utah. Suns playing well on the road as usual.
1-0, the victory over the Lakers. This Jazz team comes in 2-0 on this season. Left-handed floater by Andre Kirilenko. Mentioned that Utah played last night in Oakland, a victory over the Golden State Warriors to move to 2-0 on the year. Though Golden State was without their starting point guard, Baron Davis. That's a whole different team. They're in Golden State without Baron.
Well, that key for that team is if Baron Davis stays healthy and is already out, so that doesn't bode well for a team. But a lot of guys are saying that it's this year's Phoenix Suns.
Down the middle, Okur, who's averaging 25 points and 11 rebounds after the first 2, gives it off to Kirilenko. 5 on the shot clock. Kirilenko had been struggling with his shot the first 2 games after missing half of last season. So let's finish out those starting lineups. And there is Greg Ostertag. He's in the middle. Okur normally would start as the center, but Carlos Boozer is out with a strained hamstring. And you see Keith McLeod as their starting point guard. He is just keeping the seat warm for their much heralded rookie, Darren Williams, who starts this season coming off the bench for Jerry Sloan. Jerry doesn't like to start rookies too often, but after the first 2 games, he has brought in Darren Williams as their closer. He's been on the floor in the final minutes. A quick 20-second timeout by Jerry Sloan, like something that he saw here in the first minute 15.
Well, Ostertag's heading to the locker room for some reason, so maybe got injured and they had to call a 20 to see what's wrong with him. But Kirilenko is the guy we talked about who hasn't found his shooting touch, but is #1 in the league in blocks, and this Utah team with Ostertag is #2. So this is a guy, once he gets out, is one of the most versatile players in the league, and it's going to be fun to watch him and Sean Marion go at each other.
And that is tonight's AutoZone player matchup presented to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Look at the blocks for Kirilenko last year. Struggling with the injuries, the wrist injury, the knee injury. And finishing up this 20-second timeout, the Inhale Life Breather brought to you by the Arizona Department of Health Services, who reminds you to inhale life and be tobacco-free. For information on how to quit smoking, call 800-556-6222 or visit ashline.org. Front iron for Gordon Giracek. Offensive rebound, fresh 24. Courtesy Mehmet Okur. They call him Memo here in Utah. Signed as a free agent before last season. Showed up out of shape after signing that long-term lucrative deal, but he has come in physically prepared and more mentally prepared here in his second season for Jerry Sloan. Okur past the outstretched arms of Sean Marion, ripped out of there by Kurt Thomas. Here come the Suns on the run. Down 2-0 here in the early going. Chris Humphries has come off the Utah bench to replace Greg Ostertag, who went into the locker room.
Well, one thing this Utah team will do is rebound the basketball. We've seen them have a number of opportunities on the offensive end, going and getting offensive rebounds. And the Suns are going to have to do a good job of finding their men and then limiting the Jazz to 1 shot.
Ostertag played 13 minutes last night in the game against Golden State. You had to figure that Utah would have to go small at some point against this Suns team. So instead of a Jaron Collins, they bring in Chris Humphries in his second year out of Minnesota. Here comes Nash, shut down there by Keith McLeod. Spent a little bit of time with the Minnesota Timberwolves before coming here to Utah last season. Barely poked it away. Nash looking for Marion. The Suns will have it 11 on the shot clock.
Nash does such a great job of keeping the dribble alive. That time they stopped the break. He came down. Sean didn't set the pick, slipped it to the basket. Steve took his time, got all the way to the lane, tried to make the fancy pass to Sean. Utah knocked it out of bounds.
9:25 to go. Suns looking for their first points, and they nearly got it on the inbounds play to Marion, but he blows the layup. So the Suns are still scoreless here after putting 122 points on the board in Los Angeles against the Lakers. And Phil Jackson had been bragging about his defense there. Up and under for Okur, and it's 4-0 Jazz.
Well, we got a team in the Suns that are leading the league in scoring, and the Jazz tied with the Spurs, and only allowing about 83 points a game for the opponent, so this is going to be a will of defense against offense.
Raja misses the 3 in the corner, came into this game hitting 3 of his first 4 from far away. And McLeod now sets it to Kirilenko. Humphreys guarded there by Kurt Thomas. Face up and on net for Chris Humphreys. He had his breakout game last year, his rookie season, here at home against the Suns. It is 6-0 Jazz, give and go. Nash hanging in the air. That will not drop.
Well, we saw Kirilenko there come all the way from the weak side. Didn't get the block, but made Nash change his shot.
Phoenix starting out 0 for 6 from the field. And a 3-second defensive lane violation on the Suns. And Kurt Thomas. You would have thought the slow start would be had by this Utah Jazz team, but it's Phoenix coming out a bit sluggish. They had the day off here yesterday and had a practice under their head coach Mike D'Antoni. And Mike said really his theme at practice yesterday with this team was to continue to run the first 46 minutes of the game. Okay, maybe the final 2 you can control the tempo, control the clock, but in building those 2 17-point leads against the Mavericks and the Lakers, the Suns started to slow it down at the 7 or 8 minute mark of the 4th quarter.
Well, their game is running. Everybody knows that. And when they don't get the first break, they're going to get speeds. They come down, they want to quick pick and roll. Steve Nash takes a jumper, and hits a big man for the jump shot. So they can continue to just want to go run as fast as they can and wear out the other team.
Gordon Giricek and Utah now with an 8-0 lead. Marion on the move. Comes up short. Suns 0 for 7 from the field. Meanwhile, Utah 4 of 8, 50%. Raja Bell has the defensive assignment on Giricek. Okur hung up underneath the basket. Out of bounds violation on Utah. Suns will have it.
A good defense by Kurt Thomas there, moving his feet, making Mehmet Okur go underneath the basket. Tried to dump it off to Kirilenko, who was standing out of bounds.
8-0 Utah here on a Saturday night, second home game of the season for the Jazz. And there it is, the first hoop of the night at the 7:30 mark of the first quarter, courtesy the left hand of Steve Nash.
Well, it's just a matter of time. The Suns are getting good looks. They just haven't made any jump shots. And there's Steve Nash splitting the double team, getting all the way to the basket.
There's never been a shutout in the NBA to my knowledge. And it was not going to happen here. Double team help Raja Bell and Kurt Thomas on Okur. Weak side now McLeod. 5 on the shot clock, 4 on the clock. Straight and sweet for Keith McLeod. That was a 3-pointer by McLeod inside the cram by Sean Marion. Second bucket, it was Nash with the first one, and then Marion to the 10th floor.
And Sloan cannot be happy about that. Steve Nash doing whatever he wants off the pick and roll. They're not stopping him. He's getting all the way to the basket. Ashley could have laid that in, but being the MVP as he delivered to Sean Marion for the easy dunk.
James Jones going for the tip over the back of Kirilenko. He's busted for the personal. James Jones, what a breakout preseason he had for Phoenix and has looked solid in the first 2. And there is Nash making his move down the lane and looking for Sean on the baseline.
Well, Mehmet Okur doing absolutely nothing there, sticking a hand in the way of Steve Nash. Steve just blew right by there, got all the way to the rim, and delivered a nice dish to Marion.
Suns have been going with Kurt Thomas as their starting center, and then in the first quarter, sometimes we see Boris Diaw as the Suns go ultra small with that lineup. And boy, that would be a real handful for Mehmet Okur trying to cover a Boris Diaw. Right now, in charge of Kurt Thomas, Marion goes for the crush, met at the top, and draws the foul. And Sean Marion earns a ticket to the line.
Well, no answer for that pick and roll. Sean Marion just too quick. You see he comes in there, sets the pick. Steve Nash delivers the ball to him, and then Sean just goes hard to the basket. Mehmet Okur too late, gets the foul. Good job of stopping Sean from getting that dunk, but that pick and roll with Steve Nash to Sean Marion, impossible to guard.
We showed you off the top that incident between Raja Bell and Kobe Bryant when they were tangled underneath the basket, and Raja came away with the bloody lip after taking an elbow from Kobe Bryant. There were some Suns coaches who thought that Kobe should have been suspended, should have been thrown out of the game and suspended for throwing an elbow above the shoulder line.
Oh, just 2 kids having fun.
Well, then Sean Marion took part in the bloodbath as well, unintentionally catching Lamar Odom on the top of the head with his elbow, and Lamar Odom was bloodied. And a foul out on the perimeter on Raja Bell.
I can tell you, Raja didn't mind that. Raja, Kurt Thomas, those two guys bring a lot of toughness to this year's Suns team. When you have those two guys and throwing a guy like Sean Marion, those are three of the better defenders in this league. And we've seen it already. The Suns are more aggressive defensively. They're athletic. They're rotating. They're doing a good job on the defensive end.
And that's why he was such a favorite of his former head coach here in Utah, Jerry Sloan. A very tight relationship between Raja Bell and Jerry Sloan, who loves Raja's feistiness. Unfortunately for Sloan, Raja's taking this back to Phoenix. Suns still have Sean Marion bringing it home. Timeout here at the Delta Center. Jazz up 11-6 here in the first quarter at the Delta Center. Check out special offers on Southwest.com for the latest and greatest in air, car, and hotel deals. Utah starting out 5 of 9 from the field. The Suns 2 of 9, and off the Suns bench. Out of that timeout, Jim Jackson and Boris Diaw.
21 is Jim Jackson also.
Raja Bell takes a break along with Kurt Thomas. McLeod still out there running the point. Darren Williams, a 3rd overall pick in the college draft coming out of Illinois. Sits for the first 4 or 5 minutes of the quarter. Normally here to begin the game. Chris Humphries tips it in. It's an opportunity for Darren Williams to really survey the action as he sits next to assistant coach Scott Layton. Takes notes, kind of like a backup quarterback. Ready to come in for Keith McLeod, but everybody very excited to see the young point guard here in Utah. Diaw had a chance at a lay-in, instead gives it up to James Jones, absolutely for 3.
And that's why the Suns staff is so excited about this kid Diaw. At 6'8", you saw him there cutting down the lane. No look pass to Jim Jackson in the corner.
Tremendous vision by Boris Diaw. And it's 13-9 Utah. 10 on the shot clock now for McLeod. Utah, a very methodical style under Jerry Sloan. Raja, of course, talking about the difference in styles for the Suns. Another outside perimeter J by Giricek, and the lead is back to 6 for the Jazz.
And that's okay. The Suns decided to go double down. They rotate out. Giricek just made a tough jump, and the Suns will let him have that.
Nash, 2-man game. Boris again hangs in the air. Could have gone for the left-handed layup. Then looking in the corner, this time throws it away. Intended target was Sean Marion.
Well, there comes a point where you try to pass too much, and that was an indication there. He should have went up and tried to dunk in the lane. He's wide open there, and teams are going to start to lay off of him and make him start shooting the basketball.
It really does give this Suns team, though, a different look out there playing the 5. Blasting to the hoop, Keith McLeod. 8-point advantage now for Utah. Nash into the lane. Looking for Diaw off the knee, out of bounds. Keith McLeod. Suns will have it. 16 on the shot clock. Utah last season finished 26-56. Worst season ever under their head coach Jerry Sloan, but they were beset by injuries. Carlos Boozer missed the final 31 games of the season. Andre Kirilenko missed half the year with those knee and wrist injuries. Kirilenko rips away the board. Giricek, who came over to this Utah team in a deal with Orlando for Deshaun Stevenson, former #1 pick, and it goes out of bounds. Turnover, Utah. Giricek thought it went off one of the Suns. So does his head coach Jerry Sloan.
He hardly ever gets excited.
Officials tonight: Greg Willard, Tommy Nunez Jr., and Rodney Mott. Nash, BB inside to Diaw, and there is the lane. Take it to the hoop, 3D, Boris Diaw.
That's what I was talking about, Tom. When you get the ball that close to the basket, you got to forget about passing it. You got to go in there and use your size and score.
Diaw's a player who was the French League MVP, averaging just 7 points per game. So you know he can do a whole lot of other things. His skills are plentiful. Rebounding, defense, the assists. Very rare to hear about somebody, anybody, named an MVP when you only average 7 points per game.
Diaw again off the pick and roll, just flashes down the middle. Good little spin move there off the glass, showing he has a little bit of an offensive repertoire, which I think he's going to continue to develop as the year goes along. And once he starts to be able to score the basketball, he's going to be a very talented player. And Sean Marion picked up a foul there, and I think they kind of bailed Chris Humphries out. He's not known as a good offensive player. Put the ball down. Sean played good defense, got called for the hand check.
A report now on Greg Ostertag. A right knee injury, will be reevaluated at halftime, but will not return here tonight for the Jazz. Inside on the spin move, Matt Harper, tipped over by Chris Humphries.
Second time Chris Humphries went in there, got an offensive rebound. You got to go find that guy, box him out, keep him off the glass.
Barbosa now on the floor for the Suns. From the outside, Marion. Straight but strong and over the top, out of bounds. Matt Harpering on the floor now for Utah. Call him Little Jerry because he resembles Jerry Sloan in attitude and the way he plays the game. But this is also a player who's coming off his second microfracture surgery of his knee. Had it right at the end of last season and appears to have come back very strong for this Utah team. Of course, everybody's ears perk up in Phoenix when you hear the term microfracture surgery. And certainly it appears a success story here in Utah for Matt Harpering. 8-point lead for Utah, 2:58 to go here in the first quarter. Time now for Bud Light's What's on Tap. Bud Light, smooth and refreshing. Bud Light, great taste for your great times. The Suns will have a 5-game homestand, which begins after this one here in Utah. Starts with the Sacramento Kings tomorrow night at the America West Arena, and then Detroit Golden State. And after that, this very same Utah Jazz team will be at the America West Arena. Raja Bell back here in Utah. I had a chance to talk about playing for Jerry Sloan here with the Jazz.
I'd like to think that we have a good relationship. I have the utmost respect for Jerry. I played for some great coaches, but he holds a real special place in my heart just for the opportunity he gave me and the type of man that I think he is.
Raja went on to say, too, last year as a member of the Jazz, Thunderdan, he hated to play the Suns because he had to run all day. Now he's embracing the style. Okur, offensive rebound pass. Brian Grant, bucket and one for Memo Okur.
The Jazz are living on the offensive glass, and that's why they have this lead over the Suns. They continue to attack. Memo Okur, Humphries, both doing a good job of getting in there and getting separate opportunities. You see Memo Okur using his size and just out-muscling Brian Grant there with a little shove in the back, and then draws the contact and the harm and gets the shot.
Won an NBA title with the Pistons 2 seasons ago before signing that free agent deal here with the Jazz. In and out in another 24 seconds. Offensive rebound on the missed free throw by Harpering, and then a traveling violation there on Gordon Giricek. Break for the Suns, trailing by 10, 2:40 to go.
Well, we talked about the toughness of this Utah team, and we're seeing it here. The Suns are going to have to find a way to get the bodies on them and not allow them to run around and get these rebounds. As you see, 14-2 there.
Suns started 0 of 7 shooting in this game. Since then, have picked it up 4 of 6, but they need to work on the boards. James Jones with the direct hit. Much needed at the 2:25 mark.
Very talented guys. You see him coming off the screen. They're able to score, pull up off the dribble, nail the 15-footer.
And if you talk to Suns coaches about James Jones, goes out of bounds. Let's see who it went off of. Oh, no, a personal foul on Barbosa trying to track Harpering. But going back to James Jones, if you ask Suns coaches about the new JJ, the term they use is fearless. And he put up a fearless 3 there with about 2 minutes to go in that game against the LA Lakers.
Well, all shooters think they're going to make every shot, and he's a guy that's very confident in his abilities and will shoot at any time.
You tend to toughen up, too, when you play one-on-one each and every day and before games with Ron Artest, as he did during his days with the Indiana Pacers. It's about as tough as they come. Harpering nets them both, and Utah back up by 10.
It's about as crazy as they come.
I was talking to him. Ron Artest actually flew him out to Indianapolis during the offseason so he could play one-on-one. Brian Grant sticks it from the baseline. Artest, of course, missing almost all of last season with that NBA suspension and needed to work himself back into shape. Very close with James Jones, who brought him to Indianapolis. Flying along the baseline. Impressive crush there by Gordon Giricek. We knew he could shoot the jumper. I haven't seen him take it to the hoop like that.
I was going to say, I did not know he had this in his game. He's come out firing here early in this game. Here, very aggressive, takes the basket and just delivers the dunk in Brian Grant's face as Giricek gets tough and Utah continues to impress with their toughness. You can see why they're 2-0 here early in the season.
Second personal foul on Brian Grant. Rajabell also has 2 for the Suns. And that is why he is on the pine at this time. Brian Grant has a traveling violation. Rough first quarter here for Brian Grant and the Suns down by 10. Utah, 11 of 19 from the field, 58% so far in this one. Harpering stripped away from behind by Barbosa, and it goes off of the Jazz. Phoenix will have it, $1:30 to go here in the first.
Good team defense by Leandro as he came back and got a hand in, knocked the ball off of Harpering's leg, went out of bounds. Suns basketball.
Suns winning their first road game of the year in LA, of course, last season. What a spectacular road show they had, going 31-10 away from home. Diaw inside past Humphries. Strong move there by Boris Diaw.
Good patience by Diaw. Didn't want to take that 15-footer. Went hard to his left, used his size, laid it off the glass. And a good job by Leandro of getting in the paint and giving the basketball.
After passing up his first 2 layup attempts, has taken it in twice now for Phoenix. Rebounded Jim Jackson. Up ahead, Barbosa on the spin. Finds Jim Jackson behind the line, and now he'll set up the Suns' offense. Diaw puts it on the floor. Past Humphries. Third hoop for Diaw. Bucket and 1 for 3D. Boris Diaw heads to the line.
Well, he's going to create a lot of problems for big guys around this league because there's not too many guys his size who are going to be able to stay with his quickness. As there, he just squares up Humphries, shows he can go both ways. Take the glass, lays it up, gets fouled.
Mike D'Antoni actually flew to Europe to watch the European Championships, of which Boris Diaw was a part, for his French national team. His teammates there, Tony Parker and Michael Petrus. Pretty impressive teammates, but it was Diaw who made first team all-tournament, along with Dirk Nowitzki, who's playing in the Euro World Championships.
I think Humphries loves playing against the Suns. Last time we were here, he had a career game, like you said earlier, and being very aggressive here as Ostertag went out that knee injury, and he's taken most of the opportunity.
Just 20 years of age, Chris Humphries spent just 1 season at Minnesota. He was the 14th overall pick in the first round a year ago.
He's looking a little skinnier this year. Maybe that Balco indictment hurt him a little bit. Doesn't look like he's as big as he was last year.
Holy cow. I think I just saw him signal for a lawyer. Under 30 to go here in the first quarter. Dan Marley already in mid-season form.
We went to dinner last night with Leandro, and he took us to a Brazilian restaurant. First time I've ever been to a Brazilian, which basically is just beef on a stick. They walk around with a skewer and give you all kind of beef until you just pass out.
Well, that was nice of you. You went to dinner with Leandro and not Leander, because myself and our director and producer went and had sushi.
I know, you're
nowhere to be
into
seen. Mostly dancing.
You're into the surf, I'm into the turf.
Too deep by McLeod, tapped off the glass. A volleyball match has erupted here late in the first quarter. It's a match being owned by Utah on the boards. 14-4 rebounding advantage, but the Suns have managed to crawl back though, only down by 5. Biggest lead for Utah has been 10. Final seconds, first quarter. Leandro lets it fly, in and out. And we are done with one here at the Delta Center. Suns missed their first 7 shots from the field, but they're still in it. Trailing by 5, heading to the second quarter. And you are watching Phoenix Suns basketball on UPN 45. Tom Leander, Dan Marley back with you. Start of the second quarter here at the Delta Center. On the move again, it's Diaw. Kick it out to James Jones. Does not catch any iron. Out of bounds it goes, and Utah will have it. Suns begin the second quarter. Brian Grant's out there along with James Jones, Leandro Barbosa, Boris Diaw, and Jimmy Jackson, and the heralded rookie, Darren Williams, running the point now for this Utah Jazz team. They gave up 3 #1 picks to acquire number 8, Darren Williams, who had 18 points in his debut here. a win over the Dallas Mavericks. Time now for the Banner Health Injury Report. A new little twist this season, not just an injury report on the Suns, but around the league. And we take a look at Shaquille O'Neal, all 320 pounds of Shaq, going down on his ankle, and he's out 2 to 4 weeks for the revamped Miami Heat team. Williams trying to escape Barbosa. Long fire and boarded there by Diaw. Quick shot, James Jones, absolutely for three. In the zone with AutoZone, another $100 to Phoenix Suns Charities, courtesy AutoZone, and the marksmanship of James Jones. 2-point game.
That's what we're talking about, no fear. Last time came down, shot an air ball from three, came back, stopped and popped with nothing but net.
Kirilenko nowhere to go, and he's bailed out there by Matt Harpring. Hung in the air, looked right, looked left, and then finally found Harpring. James Jones leading the Suns in scoring. He has 8. Diaw has 7 off the bench, and more bench production, this time for Brian Grant.
Brian Grant picked off where he left off in LA, where he was 3 for 3. Tonight's come down, made two of his first 2 jumpers, so Brian Grant feeling good.
Leading scorer for Utah here in the first half, Chris Humphries, who had 8 points in that opening quarter off the pine for Jerry Sloan. Diaw defensively on Kirilenko, and the steal into the hands of James Jones. Up ahead comes Jimmy Jackson. Suns want a space and then spot. Trying to spot up, it's Jim Jackson, comes up short. Jimmy tracks it down, keeps it alive. James Jones in the corner. And tipped out of there once again, it's Jimmy Jackson. Starting to beef up the Suns' rebounding stats. Barbosa gets a mean screen from Brian Grant and drills it. Boy, give Brian Grant a lot of credit for that hoop by Barbosa.
Barbosa playing well, knowing when to take it all the way to the basket. That time stopped with that nice little jumper.
After trailing by 10, the Suns have tied it up at 29. Air ball launched by Harpring, who was wide open on the baseline, and then Diaw sends it out. The offering by Devin Brown, sent into the front row by Boris Diaw.
There's the point forward. We saw what he can do, delivering assists and taking the basket, and then here, using his size and those long arms of blocking his shot here. Good job by Diaw getting down there and rejecting the shot.
Devin Brown, who comes over to this Utah team as a free agent from San Antonio. You may remember him with the Spurs, and he's a local hero there in San Antonio after starring in high school and college. Another block, this time Eddie House was on top of the leather. The offering by Darren Williams. Eddie House with some minutes for the Suns here in the second quarter. It was Utah that came in with all the blocks. After the first 2 games, they actually had 15 in their first game against Dallas. The Suns putting on their own block party here in the first half. Eddie House, he is a howitzer. He will let it fly at any time. Mike D'Antona said, I'll never take him out for shooting too much, just for missing too much. He misses his first attempt here. Jaron Collins out there now for Utah as well, former second-round pick. Off the screen, Harpring. Rebound Collins, put back, won't fall. There's Kirilenko bashing the offensive glass. Eddie House down low, hit with a personal.
Again, Utah using that athletic appeal. Kirilenko going way above Eddie House to get that rebound. Eddie had no choice but to foul before Kirilenko in, and Utah continues to bang that offensive rebound.
18-7 rebounding advantage for Utah, but alas, we're tied up. Knotted up at 29 here in the second quarter. Time for the Quest stat of the game. Quest, spirit of service. The Suns have coughed it up only 2 times here in the first half. Utah with 7 turnovers.
Suns one of the better teams in the league of not turning over the ball. One of the reasons why is because they shoot so as soon as they get an open jumper. So there's not too many times where they can turn it over. And you know, Eddie House, we're talking about him. That guy just is in a Suns uniform to shoot anytime he touches it, and that's what he's going to do.
How satisfying was that for Eddie, too, in the home opener against Dallas? He hadn't even done anything on the court, and they started chanting, Eddie, Eddie. The former ASU Sun Devil, the all-time leading scorer for the Devils. And Raja Bell has just picked up another personal foul.
And I hate to start early, but that was another bad call by the ref. As Raja Bell was down there battling for that rebound, and was actually his arm got grabbed and he got called for the foul.
And that is number 3 now on Raja. He was biding his time on the bench because of the 2 early fouls. Looks like an offensive foul, and is on Matt Harpring.
And Harpring know that Raja was in trouble, went right at him down the post. And really see Raja let him shoot the ball, and then
he was pushed.
Yeah, and then he's just a bad call there. And Utah trying to take advantage, taking him in the post, and Raja doing a good job of keeping his ground and getting the offensive foul.
That was a veteran move by Matt Harpring. You could see Raja losing his balance because he was shoved by Harpring. Eddie House for 2. Lighting it up. And it's a 2-point lead for the Suns.
Diaw getting the ball in the post there, found a wide open Eddie House on the top of the key, and he lets it fly.
Kirilenko shut down there by Diaw, holding his space. Rebound Brian Grant, looking to clear and does now to Eddie House. Eddie for 3, wide right. Diaw trying to tip it over the top of Collins, and that's a personal foul on Boris Diaw. And returning for Utah, Lamet Okur. Come on, Matt. Harpring just took the rosin mixture and slapped it right here in front of Dan Marley. Respect thy elders.
Who didn't know Eddie House was going to take that jumper? As soon as I saw him catch it before the half-court line, I knew he was coming down and letting it go, and that's what he should do. And Barbosa coming out, Diaw coming out, both guys came in, gave a big spark to the Suns.
Yep. Mike D'Antoni with that house call here in the first half. Wasn't sure if Eddie would be more of a fourth quarter fixture. He played so well early on that Mike D'Antoni has brought him in the first half. Baseline fade, Kiricek. Another offensive rebound for Utah. Tracked down there by Okur. Steve Nash back on the floor for the Suns, along with Marion, Brian Grant, Raja Bell, and Eddie House. Kirilenko at the left elbow finds Devin Brown, and he drills it. Devin Brown, very athletic. Played some solid minutes for the San Antonio Spurs, but once they signed Michael Finley, that opened the door for Devin Brown to leave his hometown of San Antonio and sign with this Jazz team. Brian Grant, it's straight, in and out. Boarded there by Brown. Darren Williams taken 3rd overall in the draft. Utah had a choice between Darren Williams out of Illinois or Chris Paul, who was then selected by New Orleans, Oklahoma City. Kirilenko, wide right. I guess, is that how we're going to have to refer to the Hornets all season?
No, but Chris Paul is a good player. See House coming down and letting it go again.
House for 2.
Chris Paul is a good player, but Williams more of a Jerry Sloan type of guy, more of a physical point guard, and has shown that he can really score the basketball. He's got a lot of confidence in his ability to play. He comes down and is not afraid to take the big shot.
Not surprising that his idol growing up was Jason Kidd. If you look at Darren Williams out there, just the way he handles himself, he dribbles the ball. He's probably a better shooter, though, than Jason Kidd already at this stage of his career. But physically, very similar styles between Darren Williams and Jay Kidd. A 3-pointer by Williams has given Utah the 1-point edge. Returning now for the Suns is Kurt Thomas.
And their mismatch against Steve Nash. Tries to use his size and his strength, but got called for the fouls. There's no way he's going to be able to keep himself in line with the basket in there. Just moving without the ball. House comes down to double team on Kirilenko, and this kid's got a good shooting touch.
He really does. There is one drawback to play with Jason Kidd, just very inconsistent from the outside. Williams seems to have that part of his game. Nash, a rare turnover. Here comes Darren Williams. Off to Kiricek on the run. Up and under. Past Sean Marion. Board on Kiricek with another brilliant move here in the first half. Nash back for Phoenix. Swatted away by Kirilenko. And Nash comes down hard on his back. Was holding his back when he hit the floor. Devin Brown, too deep. Rebound to Marion, but we'll have to keep our eye on Steve Nash, who hit the wood hard. You know, when he goes to the bench, he lies flat on his back. And he is still a little ginger as he heads to the Suns bench. AK-47 is back for Utah. His defense triggers this team, Dan Marley.
Kirilenko comes in and makes the block, which leads to the the Utah Jazz to go down, and Steve Nash, a little ginger, as you said, trying to get up. We'll have to watch that, but the Suns still in this game, just 3 down.
Jazz by 3 here in the second quarter. And this day in NBA history, presented by Paddock Pools, where all your backyard needs, voted Arizona's #1 pool builder. November 5th, 1993, the Houston Rockets beat the New Jersey Nets 110-88 to begin their 15-game start of the season winning streak, tying the 1948 Washington Capitals for the best start in NBA history. Steve Nash back out there now for Phoenix. So apparently the injury not serious at this point. Suns have scored 14 points off of 8 Jazz turnovers. Darren Williams running the point, zigzagging past Eddie House and comes up short on the J. Quickly back comes Raja Bell, sets up Nash for 3, straight but short, and rebound there by Girichek. Nifty ball handling to get past Eddie House. Eddie, his reputation is offense, but he has been a demon on defense as well, very active with the hands.
Well, Eddie's a competitor. He wants to go out there. He's a tough kid. He'll play hard. Just his size sometimes limits his ability to play good defense.
Too deep there for Memo Okur. And Utah has built a 5-point lead. Remember, they led by as many as 10 in the opening quarter. Under 5 minutes ago until halftime, Kurt Thomas, pick and roll with Steve Nash. Kurt said after that Los Angeles game, early in the contest against the Lakers, he mishandled a couple of those passes from Nash and said, well, you have to understand, in New York, I had a different point guard, and I didn't normally see that pass.
Well, you know, he got a few wide open jumpers early in that game and didn't make them, and the best thing about it, Steve Nash made sure he got some layups, and Kurt ended up having a pretty good game.
That's what he told Steve, hey, just keep coming to me. I'll figure it out. Of course, you know who that point guard in New York is, Stephon Marbury. On a pick and roll, you roll to the basket, you basically look for a rebound. There was Kurt Thomas, and one heads to the stripe.
Nash does just a good job of not picking up his dribble. He's always exploring. That time he got all the way underneath the basket, drew 3 defenders, and delivered a pinpoint bounce pass. See, all the way down, everybody comes and traps him, and he just finds Kurt Thomas, who just catches it and lays it in.
Tonight's game brought to you by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the NBA. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. Rolls off for Kurt Thomas. And now a conversation between Mike D'Antoni and Rodney Mott. And let's see, I believe they're going to give Kurt Thomas another shot. So very likely a lane violation on Utah. And back to the strike will go Kurt Thomas, 76% free throw shooter in his career. Coming over to Phoenix in the deal that sent Quentin Richardson and the #1 pick, which turned out to be Nate Robinson, to the Knicks. And we are tied up at 38, so a profitable timeout by Mike D'Antoni and the Suns, who have scored 5 in a row out of that TO. Okur double team, gives it up now to Darren Williams. Feeds Okur, face up on Thomas. Front iron, rebound Kirilenko. And he powers it down.
Seeing the strength of Kirilenko's game, just going there using his size, offensive rebound, springs up, gets the dunk. Very active on the offensive end.
Foul on Utah, 3:48 to go here in the second quarter. Andre Kirilenko has 4 rebounds and 5 assists here in the first half, and the rebounding advantage is a +12 right now for Utah. Third team foul on the Jazz. The Suns have 4 at this juncture. Nash runs in Devin Brown, now calls for a screen for Kurt Thomas, who rolls, but Okur put his hand on the pass. On the run out, it's Darren Williams. Finds Girichek, slapped away by Marion, but contact on the way up. And in the line for 2 will go Gordon Girichek.
So they're going to get Kurt Thomas the foul. He says that he pushed him down low as Sean Marion went up and made a good block, but good head fake there by Girichek, got Thomas in the air as the deflected pass, and Williams gets out. It's going to watch the pump fake here, going to get Kurt up, and he pushes him down below. Sean gets the block, but Kurt's called for the foul.
And to the line, Girichek, originally a second-round draft pick by the Dallas Mavericks. And the Suns know very well the skills of Gordon Girichek. His career high, 33 points. It was the Suns that he torched for that career high. 28 years of age, and he has given Utah the 4-point lead under 3.5 minutes to go here in the first half. Suns return home tomorrow to take on Mike Bibby and the Sacramento Kings, who have begun the season 0-2. Losses to the Hornets and the Rockets. Raja Bell streaking to the hoop, lays it in. Raja Bell, majestic move.
Beautiful move by Raja. Turned down the three, took it hard to the basket, and then even more impressive, was able to avoid Kirilenko for the block and laid it in.
You know, interesting conversation when you talk about Joe Johnson's departure to Atlanta. It was really Quentin Richardson's role that Raja Bell was going to fill. Mike D'Antoni said before this game, regardless of Joe Johnson's situation, Raja Bell was going to have the same role with the Suns. 4-point lead now for the Jazz. Nash through the obstacle course, finds James Jones, can't stroke it. Top of the backboard, oh, and it nearly fell for Jones.
Well, those shots are going to be there for the Suns as Utah is starting to pack it in the paint, not allow Steve to get all the way to the basket, but they're going to sag off and make the Suns beat it from outside.
Mentioned that game with the Sacramento Kings. It's actually a 6 o'clock start on a Sunday night at the America West Arena tomorrow evening. Mehmet Okur, and he'll head to the line. Crashing into James Jones, a head-on collision, and Memo Okur adding to his point total. A timeout here with 2:16 to go. Raja Bell and the Suns trying to race back into this one, trailing by as many as 10. And right now looking up at a 6-point deficit. First of 3 meetings between the Suns and the Jazz. Kurt Thomas starting to build a little bit of chemistry with his new point guard.
Well, it's easy to do. His first job is to get Steve Nash open. You watch here, he's going to go set a pick, let Steve use it, and then he's got to decide whether I'm going to pop back or, like here, roll to the basket and lay it in. And then when you know Steve Nash has got the ball, just get to an open area. His man's going to get drawn to him, find a place. You know Steve's going to get you the ball. Kurt Thomas is going to live off of Steve Nash all year long.
To the line goes Mehmet Okur, playing the center position. In case you're just joining us, we missed the start of this game. Greg Ostertag, their starting center, went out with the knee injury. He is being reevaluated, but not expected to return here tonight for the Jazz. Raja Bell, quick fire, all net for Raja Bell.
Raja Bell been a little quiet here earlier, but that time did a good job of working off the screen, took what the defense gave, stepped back, and continues to shoot well.
Second field goal for Raja in this game. Suns still led in scoring by James Jones, 8 points. And a fast break opportunity for Phoenix. Quick release by Nash, rebound Marion. And a reset back to Nash. Sean Marion just 1 of 6 from the field here in the first half for Phoenix as Nash sets up Kurt Thomas once again.
Exactly what I was talking about. Just find an open space if you're a big man. Steve not shooting the ball real well this year yet. Hasn't found a stroke, but still doing a good job of getting all the way to the basket and setting up his teammates.
It actually has been Kurt Thomas who's struggled with his shot here in the first few games and during the preseason. But Kurt, 3 of 3 from the field here in the first half, and on the move, James Jones whistled for the personal on Giricek. You know, it's interesting in talking to Kurt Thomas, too. He has had vision problems. He had laser surgery on his eyes and then has been playing with 1 contact in, and he struggled with that. And was telling me after the game against Los Angeles that it's just going to be a matter of time before that vision is corrected, and he's back finding that stroke from the outside. Boris Diaw back for Phoenix, and he will replace James Jones. Jones has picked up 3 personal fouls. Raja Bell also has 3 for Phoenix. Barbosa and Grant with 2.
Chris Humphries will check in for Memo.
Gordon Giricek, the first player in double figures here tonight. And he has given the Jazz the 5-point advantage. Minute 10 to go until halftime. Suns are going to go 2-1 on this young season. I'll hold on Giricek. There is the mismatch with Boris Diaw out there. It's either a big man, a center that he can put it on the floor against, or a mismatch against a 2-guard.
Well, he's just playing a point forward there as he came down, flashed to the post, and they gave him the ball. He just squared up, and his job is either take to the basket, score, or find somebody.
Nash to Barbosa. Quick feed Diaw into the lane. Gives it up to Kurt Thomas, and it pops out. Tipping is Diaw, trying to keep it alive. And here comes Kirilenko. The Jazz will run at times. Spinning move by Kirilenko, and now into the hands of Williams. Hold on, a 3-second lane violation on Chris Humphries, I believe, of Utah.
Well, Diaw again made a fantastic move, found a wide open Kurt Thomas, couldn't knock it in, and Kirilenko again shows what kind of athlete he is. Goes all the way down the paint. Probably should have shot it. He didn't. They got a 3-second call.
Inexplicable, Dan Marley, but Utah plus 13 in rebounding in this one. 10 turnovers to just 5 for Phoenix. Yet the Suns are still within 5 in this ballgame. Nash on the fade. That wouldn't drop, and out of the pack comes Darren Williams. Hitting the turf there was Gordan Giricek. Nash so far in this game, just like Sean Marion. Both Suns All-Stars, 1 of 6 from the field here in the first half. 4 seconds separating the shot clock from the game clock. Darren Williams, defended there by Marion. Throws up a prayer, tipping Kirilenko once, twice, 3 times. Here comes Diaw. Lets it go. It would not have counted for Diaw and the Suns, who head to the locker room, trailing Utah by 5. But they have to feel good about it. It was a sloppy first half for the Suns, still well within range of the hometown Utah Jazz.
2 stars didn't shoot well. Utah did a great job on the boards, but the Suns are still in. They got to come out with more fire and more intensity in the second half.
Kevin Ray, Tom Chambers standing by in Phoenix with our halftime report. Tom Leander, Dan Marley back with you here at halftime. Jazz leading the Suns 49-44, and just spoke with Suns assistant coach Phil Weber. Pretty simple what transpired in the first half. It's all about fouls. The Suns have 14 fouls to just 8 for Utah, so it's sending the Jazz to the line. And of course, rebounding, a plus 15 for the Jazz.
Well, the Jazz have 13 offensive rebounds, and most of the time than not, if the more aggressive team is going to get the benefit of the doubt in games like this, and you see Utah being more aggressive, and Suns are getting called for some ticky-tack fouls, but the refs are going to look at the guys who are being more aggressive, the guys who are playing more physical, and most of the time they're not going to get any foul calls. So Suns got to do a better job of limiting the Jazz to 1 shot, and if they do that, things will be fine. Steve Nash is going to get hot. He's not going to be 1 for 6 in the second half. Sean Marion, same thing. So Suns are just going to hang in there, find a way to get on the boards, and everything will be fine.
And usually it's Utah with the hack attack, sending the Suns to the line, trying to slow up their fast break. Time now for our winners board here at halftime. Game between the Suns and the Jazz. Gila River Casino's winner board. Gila River Casinos, where the winners play. And you talked about the numbers for both Nash and Marion, 1 of 6. They get 8 points from James Jones, 7 off the bench from Boris Diaw. Meanwhile, for the Utah Jazz, the only player in double figures is Gordan Giricek with 12.
Giricek came out shooting from the outside and then was impressive going to the hole, delivering a monster dunk on Brian Grant, but Utah being more aggressive. Kirilenko and Humphries doing a good job on the boards and cleaning up the mess that the other guys are making, but it just comes down to one thing we talked about. Suns got to do a better job of limiting the Jazz to just 1 shot, as Sean Marion and Steve Nash have to find their games, which I'm sure they'll do. And good job by Boris Diaw coming off the bench. I thought the Suns bench did a good job. Eddie House came in, Brian Grant shot the ball well, Barbosa did a good job, Diaw did a good job, so it's up to Steve Nash and Sean Marion to get back on it. 19
points from the Suns bench in the first half, and waiting for Nash and Marion to erupt. Phil Weber also said the Suns just didn't run like they normally do, like they want to do against this Utah Jazz team, and they were very successful in putting the points on the board against Jerry Sloan, his defensive-minded team last year. In the 4 contest game against Utah, they averaged 117 points against Sloan and the Jazz.
You would be punctilious in that instance.
Did I get punked? I just got punked. So here comes Nash and the Suns. Neither team scores on their first possession. Hello, Steve Nash to Sean Marion. First bucket of the second half.
Great recognition by Steve Nash as he came off the double team. They all kind of went towards Kurt Thomas. They lost sight of Sean Marion on the back cut. Nash just threw it up toward the rim. Marion flushed it down.
Second field goal for Marion. Steal to Raja Bell. Here come the Suns on the run. Nash, Marion to the 10th floor once again.
Well, that's a good way to start it. As we said, the Suns had to come down with a little energy. Raja Bell with a nice steal. Sean using his quickness. Again, Nash throwing it up there. Marion, who said we wouldn't have any fantastic high-flying dunks since Mario's been out.
Thank goodness. 50 seconds into the second half already, Jerry Sloan is forced to call a timeout. He has seen enough of this.
Check your copy of the halftime deck. Look to the right and find that gambling.
Phoenix Suns basketball is brought to you by Quest, Spirit of Service, Gila River Casinos, where the winners play, and by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the NBA. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom.
Hot dog, we're having a good time here in the second half. Suns with the first two hoops to pull to within one. James Jones trying to rip it away from Kirilenko with help from Raja Bell. Around a suitcase, AK-47, that's a traveling violation.
Good double team there down by Bell and Jones. Made Kirilenko try to split it. Had to do it, he'd walk to do it, and the Suns get the ball. And just a point of reference, stay away from the hot dogs in the press room. Bad news.
It better not come back up. Kurt Thomas, straight but short, and then he gets the fortuitous bounce. So we have punctilious and fortuitous.
Yeah, he got the friendly roll there. As Kurt's got to get a little bit more arc on that shot. The shot's a little flat there. Got the friendly roll on the pick and pop, and Suns have come out with a lot of enthusiasm here in the second half.
Kurt Thomas, he has the eyes tonight, 4 of 5 from the field, 9 points now for Kurt Thomas. Going back to the 4 games against Utah last season, Suns took 3 of the 4, slapped away by Thomas, but he's busted with the personal, and Kirilenko will go to the line. But they met 4 times. Suns averaged 117 points in those 4, and they actually had the highest scoring game in the NBA last year. These two teams, 136-128, Suns winning it at the America West Arena.
Kirilenko undressing James Jones, gets all the way basket, and Kurt Thomas, we talked about the toughness that he's going to bring to the Suns. Didn't allow Kirilenko the free pass to the basket, takes him to the free throw line.
Check out the Arizona Sports Report on FSN Arizona nightly at 9:30 p.m. for interviews, game previews, highlights, and player profiles. The Arizona Sports Report gets you up close and personal with the Suns, and it can be seen nightly at 9:30 p.m. only on FSN Arizona, and that is where you can catch tomorrow night's game between the Suns and the Kings. 6 o'clock start, Suns countdown, of course, 5:30 on FSN Arizona. And outside, a foul. McLeod was there, trying to fight his way through the screen. And the Suns will have it out on the side. Suns shooting 48% from the field. Utah, their percentage has dropped to 43%. Rising up, Raja Bell rims up. And another rebound to Andre Kirilenko. He doesn't have to give you points, he'll give you plenty in the rebounding, block shot department. Kirilenko came into this game just 6 of 22 from the field. Still a little rusty after missing half of last season. Now they want Okur in the low block, a mismatch with Raja Bell, so he'll get help from Sean Marion. 2 on the shot clock. Marion bails out Okur. He went for the slap on Okur and caught some flesh. There was only 2 seconds on the shot clock.
Exactly right, Tom. Sean did bail him out. They had a good double team down there. Okur was about to take a bad shot. Sean reached in trying to get the steal, hacked him. As you can see here, Sean, they're going to do a good job of double teaming. Here, you just got to put your hands up and make him take a tough shot as the shot clock's running down. Instead, Sean bailed him out with the foul.
And to the line goes Okur. We told you about the fact that his career started in Detroit with the Pistons. In fact, he was a second-round pick back in 2001 with Detroit. And he has certainly made the most of his career. You talk about great success stories. Of course, Raja Bell, one of the all-time great stories, and the fact that he was undrafted coming out of college at Florida International, working his way to Philly, Dallas, Utah, and now with the Suns. Marion, open look from the corner, and it's an air ball for Marion. Rebound into the hands of Jaron Collins. Collins is out there because Greg Ostertag went down in the first couple of minutes with a knee injury, has not returned. Ostertag, who spent last season in Sacramento, did not work out at all in his one-year stint with the Kings, and they bring him back here to the Jazz. Kirilenko lights it up for 3.
Kirilenko coming off that pick and roll. Raja Bell decided to go underneath. That's all the space Kirilenko needed, pulled up and nailed the 3.
Nash went for the quick answer, and here comes Utah. Biggest lead was 10 in the first half, currently up 6. Utah will head out on a 4-game road trip after this one. A rare miss by Kirilenko, front iron, and he had a very good look at it. Nash, crashing into McLeod was Kurt Thomas, and he's drilled with the offensive foul. You talk about a head-on collision. Kurt Thomas making his way down the floor and ran into the little man, Keith McLeod.
Steve Nash was just trying to use Kurt Thomas, come off his butt and get in the lane, and Kurt was just running the lane, and McLeod stepped in front and took the charge.
McLeod pulls up along the baseline and fills it up. Timeout, Mike D'Antoni. Not happy at all with his half-court defense.
Well, you got to give it to the Jazz. They're taking what the Suns are giving to them. They're stepping back, hitting the jump shots, playing extremely hard, and they're getting it done here. The Suns got to come out, get some more enthusiasm, play tougher than the Jazz.
Back to an 8-point lead for the Utah Jazz here at the Delta Center. Time now for the APS Power Matchup. APS, the power to make it happen. And our power matchup tonight is the game going on between the Spurs and the Mavericks. Michael Finley has started out 0-2 against his former team, the Mavs. Dirk Nowitzki has 21, and Tim Duncan has 17 to lead San Antonio. That is our power matchup brought to you by APS. The Suns, of course, in that Michael Finley derby. Steve Nash on the outside comes up short for three. The dish was from Raja Bell, who also helped the Suns make that recruiting pitch in Chicago to Finley. People thought it was between the Suns and Miami. Instead, Finns goes for the title team in San Antonio.
Steve Nash continuing to struggle on 1 for 8 here tonight, and I've noticed most of the shots is coming up short, whether doesn't quite have his legs yet or what, but we know that Steve Nash, being the type of shooter he is, will get on track.
Remember in the first half, too, Nash crashed to the floor and grabbed his back. And certain Suns medical staff will keep an eye on that. The block by James Jones gives Utah the ball. Out of bounds. McLeod, 2 on the shot clock. Hand in the face from Nash, and the shot clock blows up on Utah. Phoenix will have it. Another one of those instances where you, if you're a Suns player or coach, wanted another second on that shot clock because it thwarted a Suns fast break opportunity. Nash was on the run out. So into the front court comes Nash. Just 1 of 8 shooting from the field, crossing over, zigzagging into the lane, and shut down there by Collins. Now it's Marion. Nash finds a wide open Kurt Thomas, trying to spoon feed Thomas, and it's rebounded by Okur.
Again, those shots are going to be there for the Suns as the Jazz are getting into the paint and making the Suns beat it from outside.
Nash does have 8 assists so far in this game, coming off the 17 dishes he had against the Lakers. Kirilenko drives right on Bell, drops the shoulder blocking foul on Raja Bell of the Suns.
Raja's picked up some tough fouls here, moving his feet pretty well. It looked like Kirilenko actually lowered his shoulder and made Raja fall. But again, the Jazz are being more aggressive, taking to the hole hard, and Raja picked up another foul.
And that is now number 4 on Raja Bell. He will head to the bench, replaced by Leandro Barbosa. Bell checks out 2 of 5 from the field, 4 points. The Suns starting backcourt of Bell and Nash accumulating at this point just 6 points. And it's Harpering to inbound Okur at the 7:20 mark here of the 3rd quarter. This Utah team does not look tired after their victory last night against the Golden State Warriors. Off the turnover, Marion is bludgeoned airborne by Jaron Collins and will head to the line.
Good tough defense by Steve Nash. Got the steal. Sean Marion getting on the break. Collins doing a good job here of not allowing Marion to finish and going to send him to the free throw line.
Sean came into this game number 3, had 27 rebounds in the first 2 contests for the Suns and nets the first free throw.
He had some fantastic dunks in that Laker game, especially in the 4th quarter, where Boris Diaw was just thrown up by the rim, and Sean was there. The one on the tip from a missed shot looked like he was looking down through the basket.
That's where the trampoline was underneath. Sticks them both, and it's now a 6-point advantage for Utah. Jazz won it last night, 91-85 over the Warriors, a team that had little life in it without Baron Davis. Utah starting the season 2-0. Pretty lucky in their first 2 matchups as Barbosa lines up the 3, rebound to Marion. Back to Barbosa, finds Kurt Thomas, rolls off the iron, going after the offensive rebound, and let's see. Phoenix will have it.
Well, you see the product of getting a defensive rebound. The Suns were able to get out, run, get a good look at the three-point attempt. Leandro doing a real good job of getting the ball back, finding Kurt Thomas, who just happened to miss the puppy, but able to get the ball back and now have it underneath.
Going back to Utah and their 2-0 record, pretty fortunate too in the fact that their first game here at home was against the Dallas Mavericks, and the Mavs are a bit hungover from that double overtime win the night before against the Suns. So they get Dallas here at home, and then they head to Golden State to take on a Warriors team without Baron Davis. But this is a solid effort all around so far for Jerry Sloan and his Jazz.
Sean's got to come out and get taken care of. Got a little cut, I think, on his forehead, a little infectious disease control. Aaron Nelson doing another fine job.
IDC.
He got that cut when Jared Collins stopped him from laying it in, and doesn't look too bad. Aaron's going to be able to take care of that, and he'll be back in action.
Not near as bad as the shot that Lamar Odom took from Sean Marion, blooding up his forehead. Shane Battier was nailed last night in the game too.
Here's one of those passes I was talking about in the Lakers. Is Diaw he's young, but he's not dumb. He said, I'm just going to throw that up by the rim and let Sean do the rest. And we saw that a few times in the fourth quarter against the Lakers.
Great pass by Diaw too, almost looking off the defenders, looking to one side, firing it up to Marion on the lob pass. Steve Nash with the direct hit. And it's now 58-54 Utah. Nash's second field goal made so far here in this one. Gear check, air ball. And Thomas clears it now to Nash. Up ahead, bounce pass. Marion can't control the feed from Nash. And away with it comes Keith McLeod and the Jazz.
Beautiful pass by Steve Nash. So let a streaking Sean Marion just happened to lose control.
McLeod in his third year in the NBA out of Bowling Green. Waiting for a cutter, but a foul on the screen by Jared Collins.
But James Jones tried to go over the screen that time. Jared Collins stepped up, got called for the moving pick. You can see here James Jones going to try to cheat the screen, goes up, and Jared Collins moves. You cannot do that. Offensive foul.
Suns came in averaging 115 points after the first two games. Held to 54 here midway through the third quarter. Barbosa, he's hung up. And now Nash in control. Slicing into the lane, hands it off to Kurt Thomas for the finish. A dazzling dish there by Steve Nash.
It's just unbelievable, the vision that Steve Nash does, and also a good job by Kurt Thomas again, finding an area on the floor where nobody is. Steve finds it.
Struggling with the shot mightily, but coming up with his 9th assist is Steve Nash. Heartbreak, curls, fires, can't connect. Rebound, Kurt Thomas. Suns on the run again. Nash veers left, gets a screen from Marion. Fades and rolls off. Tough break there for Nash. Had the 30 points in the season opener at home against the Dallas Mavericks. McLeod top of the key. Utah now just 2 of 9 from the field here in the third quarter. No look behind the back feed, sets up Sean Marion, gets the drop. Assist number 10 for Steve Nash.
Suns doing a better job of limiting Utah to one shot, and then comes down pick and roll with Sean Marion. They all go to Steve Nash. Sean steps back, gets the friendly roll.
And a timeout by Jerry Sloan and Utah, a 22nd timeout here with 4:51 to go in the third period. Marion's 4th field goal. He also checks in with 8 boards so far. Marion leading the Suns in scoring. He has a dozen. Kurt Thomas with 11 for the Suns. And Suns fans, make sure to drop by the new Verizon Wireless Jungle next time you're at the America West Arena. 6,000 square feet of fun for the whole family, featuring games, activities, and of course, basketball up on the second level of the America West Arena. That's the Verizon Wireless Jungle.
Been there. Fantastic.
Loved it. Great spot. Love for the kids. And if you want, if it's available, you can actually rent the place out for parties. How about that?
That's crazy. I took all 4 of my kids up there, and they had
I was about to say, I think that's an expensive footnote. When you have 4 kids, you have one party there, you got to have 4.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I got a little pull.
The kids are listening. Tied up at 58. Out of that 20-second timeout, what did Jerry Sloan draw up? Nash hacking away at Okur, and a traveling violation on Mehmet Okur. Another turnover by the Utah Jazz. That is now number 17. The Suns have given it up just 6 times here tonight.
But we're seeing the Suns being more aggressive. A hard double team by Steve Nash. Okur trying to find somebody to pass to Travis.
There you boil it down. Suns being out-rebounded by 17. What has kept them in the game? Utah turnovers. Jackson can't find the mark. And Okur clears it now to Keith McLeod. Matt Harper, a very emotional offseason. As Kirilenko hammered inside, he'll go to the line for 2 of it. Matt Harpering went to Georgia Tech, and his college mate there at Georgia Tech, Jason Collier, passed away former Atlanta Hawks center. It's been a very emotional time for Harpering as you see Andre Kirilenko, who will step to the line for 2.
And I like that foul by Leandro. He went down there tough, made sure that he wasn't going to get the hoop and the harm, and Leandro has been very impressive here early.
A lot of people shaken by the sudden death of Jason Collier. And Harpering said they were so close they actually were planning on buying a boat together, both avid fishermen. And obviously has taken the loss very hard. Kirilenko at the line gives Utah the 2-point advantage. 4:15 to go here in the third. Jazz only 2 points over the last 4 minutes and 15 seconds, courtesy the free throws by Kirilenko. Nash nearly losing it on the dribble and now does. Up ahead McLeod, free lane. Oh, hammers it down. Keith McLeod, but the Suns want to make him pay. Quickly comes Nash into the lane, and you can see the suffocating defense by Utah. Packing the lane, Nash, second trip back into the lane, and sweet off the glass.
So those last 2 times, Utah has actually went into a 2-3 zone, which you don't see Sloan run too often. Like you said, packing the paint, got the steal, and they were able to get a fast break dunk.
Boy, we've seen some jams by Giricek and Keith McLeod. Marion with the interception. Here come the Suns. They have a 3-on-2. Wingman to his right is Diaw, and they'll call him on the dish-off. So no free throws for Boris Diaw.
Well, he'll learn as he gets a little older. When that whistle blows, you just throw it up anywhere near the rim, you're going to go to the free throw line. Good catch by him on a tough pass by Sean Marion in the break. Instead of throwing up the rim, tried to deliver the bounce pass. He was able to collect it and go up to the rim, but he needs to shoot that. And we see Boris having another good night. That time going to the basket, making a nice dish, showing his ability to pass the ball. He's also been very good at squaring up and getting to the basket there. A nice little spin move and lays it off the glass. So Boris is one of those guys who is going to use all his skills and only going to get better as the year goes along.
The multiple skills of Diaw, draining a 3, absolutely. Jim Jackson in the zone with AutoZone. Another $100 of Phoenix Suns charities. And the Suns have taken the 1-point lead nearing the 3-minute mark here of the third quarter. Their shooting has been off. They have been out-rebounded dramatically by Utah, but they have the lead here in the third. Inside spinning move by Matt Harper.
Leandro, instead of stopping and boxing out, ran by his man, trying to get a fast break layup. Allowed Utah to get the second chance point.
Nash, his pass picked off by Giricek. Rams right into Nash, blocking foul in the backcourt on Steve Nash. D'Antoni is incensed along the Suns sideline.
It should be. That's either a no call or a charge. Steve Nash was there well before Giricek even got there. You can see Steve Nash set up. That's either a no call or a charge. There's no way that's a blocking call.
Well, that is a painful whistle as Nash was set, and Giricek obviously without the ball handling skills to try to spin by Nash and bailed out by the referee. And Nash now getting an explanation from Rodney Mott. He'll explain all night, but Nash will never accept that call. And it results in free tosses by Giricek.
Maybe Steve's talking Canadian and he doesn't understand it.
I saw that commercial. 1 of 2 at the line.
That karma just came back. Missed them both.
Barbosa surveying the lane, and now it's Diaw. It's not his strong suit, and the rebound to Harpering. Mike D'Antoni said once Boris Diaw develops a perimeter shot, this guy could be unstoppable. Diaw just 23 years of age. working feverishly with assistant coach Phil Weber on that shot. And there, ladies and gentlemen, nice little makeup call. Offensive foul. Steve Nash and the Suns with a little bit of justice.
A little bit of justice. We're going to see him reach out with his left hand and give him a little bit of a shove there. And Steve, being the veteran he is, knowing that that makeup call was probably right around the corner, hits the net.
Nash heads to the bench. Take the final 2:12 off of the third quarter and then into the fourth. Barbosa running the point. Out there with Diaw, Marion, Jim Jackson, and Eddie House. In the air, Marion hacked and heads to the line. I believe it was a pass in the air, and let's see how they call it.
See two guys, 6'8", 6'9", running a pick and roll. Sean rolling to the basket. Diaw just going to throw it up there. Just going to see you're going to do a pick and roll here, and just going to try to lead Sean to the basket. And they got Harpring coming over the back.
Number 3 is Bill Palacio.
14 fouls on Utah, and the Suns forced to take it out of bounds. House, no look, bounce pass, and there it is. Boris Diaw sticks the J, assist. Eddie House, that's assist number 20 for the Suns in this game. Came in averaging 31 assists per game. The ball movement has been spectacular.
A beautiful play there, just a pick and pop as Eddie House comes off the screen. Beautiful bounce pass to a wide open Diaw.
A pass or a shot. Looked like a pass, but it was Harpring there to put in the miss by Darren Williams. Back to a 1-point Utah lead. Seesaw battle. Barbosa lining up a three, knocks it down. In the zone with AutoZone. Another $100 to Phoenix Suns charities after the big shot by the Brazilian Blur.
It's like the steak on the stick.
Suns have hit 4 of 16 three-point attempts. Milt Palacio, the one-time Sun, is out there now for Utah. Okur hits the floor after the release. Marion up ahead to Diaw. Back to Marion, rises up. Tipped out of there and in. Sean Marion was around the hoop and will get credit for the basket.
Sean Marion, one of the quickest jumpers in the league. Milt Palacio doing a good job of getting back and making Sean change his first shot. Sean, being athletic enough, got up and got the rebound.
Marion with the double-double now with 10 rebounds to go along with his 14 points. The Suns with their biggest lead, up by 4. Darren Williams, hand in the face from Diaw. The long arms of Diaw intimidated the shot by Williams. Barbosa back to Boris, stripped away cleanly by Palacio. Here comes Milt Palacio, drives on Jackson, and he digs it out of bounds off of Palacio. Phoenix basketball. The Suns can take the final shot of this third quarter.
You see both teams being very active with their hands with the strips as Jimmy Jackson does a good job of getting down there, knocking the ball out of Palacio's hands off his leg. Suns basketball.
That is a great call. Happened in a split second. So easy to criticize these referees, but all over that one. Eddie House, Jackson up the three, absolutely. Quick shot. Suns may have been going for the final shot of the quarter. No such thing in the mind of Eddie House. He'll let it fly when he's open. Kirilenko to end the third quarter. And it was a good one for the Suns. They finish on a 10-2 run after the three-pointer by Eddie House. Very entertaining here in the third quarter. We head to the fourth and final period from the Delta Center, with the Suns leading 73-66. It's their biggest lead, and you are watching the best show on sneakers, Phoenix Suns basketball, here on UPN 45.
Everybody get them going. How about this tune?
Welcome back to beautiful Salt Lake City. A shot of the Capitol building. Dan Marley along with Tom Leander started the fourth quarter. Jazz 66, Suns 73, and it's time for a check of the Jack in the Box inside the box scores. The Suns had a fantastic third quarter, and Tom, that's what we like to see.
And thus the Suns up by 7 to begin the fourth and final period. Mentioned Milt Palacio out there. He was actually part of the trade with Boston that brought Joe Johnson to the Suns, along with Milt Palacio and Randy Brown. Tony Delton, Rodney Rogers heading to Boston. Scuffle there between Eddie House and Andre Kirilenko. House busted for the person.
Till Miami days, Eddie House, as he looks over, he just tried to muscle Kirilenko down. We had a little mismatch there, and just went a little.
Learn that from Riles, huh? How many former Heat teammates
this is
are out
Miami
here.
West. I played with Brian Grant, House, Kurt Thomas. Yeah, all three of those guys.
Oh, the Suns with the double team and the strip. Here comes Barbosa blasting down the lane.
Love it.
Takes
Love
it
that
home.
kid.
Might be the fastest player in the league.
It's such a strong finisher.
Oh, love to see foot race between him and Gilbert Arenas. 75-66. Again, Suns' biggest lead now. It's 9. Kirilenko drops the shoulder into Marion and then puts it off the glass. For Andre Kirilenko, he's now in double figures with 10 points, has 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Eddie House, quick fire, the howitzer, too strong. And the 10th rebound for Kirilenko. Suns outscoring Utah 29-17 in that third period. Blocked inside, sent away by Boris Diaw. And now it's Boris on the move, behind the back, Eddie House, front iron, and rebounded there by Jaron Collins. Poked away, still in possession of the Utah Jazz. Palacio, hop, skip, and a jump through the lane, and he'll head to the stripe.
There you see why it makes Boris Diaw such an interesting player. Down the other end, on defensive end, you see him make a nice block on a 7-foot center, gets the ball, full speed, behind the back pass that House and right. So this is a guy who has a lot of ability. This guy's going to be a big piece of this puzzle for the Suns.
Again, this Utah team playing without Carlos Boozer, their big free agent acquisition of a year ago. Missed the final 33 games of last season and now is out with the hamstring injury.
Not attired.
Very nice, yes, certainly matching up to that dress code that the NBA has installed. Last season, Utah owner Larry Miller questioning the heart of Carlos Boozer after the Cleveland Cavaliers, his former team, questioned his integrity. It's been a tough year for Carlos Boozer. Jerry Sloan says he does not know when Boozer might return to this Utah team. Still put up some pretty solid numbers though last year, averaging about 18 points per game. Palacio, strong move to the cup.
Palacios came in and gave him a real solid effort here tonight. The guy's been around a long time. Tough-minded guy. I talked to him a little bit before the game. Said he loves playing for Salone because there's so much structure. He knows exactly what he has to do, and all he has to do is come out and play hard.
And he takes some of the pressure off the rookie Darren Williams because he's normally a point guard running the 2 spot. House is missed, jerked out of there by Okur. 45-26, Utah rebounding advantage.
Eddie House getting a lot of good looks, and the thing about it is when he lets it go, you automatically think it's going in, so you're almost shocked every time he misses.
Raja Bell set to return for Phoenix at the next break. Devin Brown feeding inside, trying to poke it away over the top. Boris Diaw, he's hit with a personal.
Just good ball movement and good person movement there. Amanda Okur was very patient, let Diaw get behind him, sealed, and wait for the ball movement. Diaw was out of position and had to foul.
Third team foul on the Suns. Utah has not picked up a team foul as of yet here in the fourth period. Palacio feeds it down low. Kirilenko goes to work on Marion. Hangs in the air. And the rebound is Sean Marion. Nash receiving his break on the Suns bench. He went out with 2:15 to go in the third quarter. Slapped away out of bounds and a timeout here in the fourth. 8:55 to go. The Suns built a 9-point lead. Their advantage right now stands at 4. Suns 75, Jazz 71 here in the fourth. Now you have 15 million reasons to play Powerball. Tonight's jackpot, an estimated $15 million. Get your tickets today. And don't forget to check for the winning numbers at ArizonaLottery.com. It's time for the Powerball Power Play and the long arms of Boris Diaw.
Boris Diaw, n'est-ce pas, mon frère? Is he French? Did that make any sense whatsoever?
You'd have to ask him.
Oh, okay.
He'd have to translate that.
But just showing the long arms and the way he can block a guy who's 7'1", and then what we didn't see him leading the break with a fancy behind-the-back pass. So good pickup for the Suns. Got him from Atlanta, and he's It'll be fun to watch this year. And like you said, if he ever develops an outside shot, watch out.
You know, the smartest man in Atlanta might have been Steve Belkin. You know who Steve Belkin was? The owner of the Hawks, one of the co-owners of the team, who vehemently tried to stop the deal to sign a trade with Joe Johnson. He felt that 2 first-round draft picks and Boris Diaw was just too much to give up, along with the $7 million to be paid to Joe Johnson. I think he knew what they had there in Atlanta with Boris Diaw, but he played a totally different role with Atlanta, a team that expected him to score more. Much more effective on a talented team like the Suns, where he can utilize his passing skills. Mil Palacio hands it off. Kirilenko going to the 10th floor, denied, and a shove by Diaw on Mehmet Okur. 4th team foul now on Phoenix. Utah will have it on the side.
Sean Marion able to get over there and stop Kirilenko from getting the dunk. Okur got the offensive rebound, got pushed out of bounds.
Devin Brown out there along with Mil Palacio. Darren Williams, the rookie, has it now for Utah, and another stop. This time a whistle against the Jazz and a moving screen. Give the ball to the Suns. 8:32 to go in the 4th.
Yeah, they got Okur coming down trying to get a piece of one of the Suns, and again was moving. Good call by the referee.
Saw Jerry Sloan last night passing Bill Fitch, 5th all-time coaching victory. Sean Marion above the crowd, and he came crashing down. The Suns have a 6-point lead.
All set up by Diaw going hard to the basket. Just had to get that on the glass. Suns man went over trying to block it. Suns finished it.
16 points, 13 boards so far for Marion. Powerful move there by Devin Brown in the lane. So congratulations, though, going out to Jerry Sloan for passing Bill Fitch. 5th all-time, 945 wins. Barbosa's shot slapped away.
That makes up for a lot of bad defenses. Barbosa, the beautiful crossover, got all over the lane, but Kirilenko shows why he's leading the league in blocks.
Inbounds play has been very effective for the Suns. That play right there has resulted in a number of layups already early in the season. Out of bounds off of Kirilenko. Battling with Marion for that board.
Those are 2 athletic freaks right there down the line. You see Sean just go up high, and Kirilenko with those long arms able to stop the shot and knocks it off Kirilenko's hands. Suns get the ball underneath.
Quick shot off the inbound by Raja Bell. Raja out there with the 4 personal fouls. Here comes Devin Brown. Gets it out to Darren Williams. Passes on the 3-point attempt. Devin Brown, who's out there, won the title last year with the San Antonio Spurs. Still waiting, by the way, for his ring. He's going to have to wait until the end of the season, until April 17th, as Utah in San Antonio, so he can scoop up that ring.
Shoot, I'd give him my address. I'd be getting that ring. I'd be waiting to the end of the year.
He's got friends and family. I mean, just have somebody show up there on opening night. Marion hit with the foul. That's his 3rd person.
I'll take a sick day and go get it myself.
Maybe Jerry Sloan would give him that off day. Head on down to San Antonio, be part of the ring ceremony. It's a tough departure, though, for Devin Brown, leaving a spot where he is so well-liked by the fans, and such a great reputation in high school and college, as Kirilenko misfires on the first free throw, trying to cut into the Suns' 4-point lead. For his career, Kirilenko is a 79% free throw shooter. Utah Jazz last season, their first losing season since the 1982-83 campaign. 26-56. Trying to resurrect themselves under Jerry Sloan. And from the outside for 3, it's James Jones drilling the big shot.
Good play there. The Suns ran a mini weave, and Jones just planted himself in the corner, waiting for the opportunity.
80-74 Phoenix, under 7 minutes to play. Devin Brown comes up shy. Okur. And he tips it out to Brown. Fresh 24 for Utah. Drives the baseline, up and under, rejected by Boris Diaw. And now Diaw leads the Suns great. Finds Raja Bell. Stopped cold there by Palacio. Now it's Diaw, low block, spins on Okur, fires, can't connect. And Kirilenko with his 12th rebound. Okur also in double figures. with 11 boards. Steve Nash to return for Phoenix at the next break. Palacio harassed there by the tandem of Marion and Barbosa. Under 5 on the shot clock. Brown forced to fire. And an excellent box out there by James Jones. Very rarely do you see a missed shot hit the floor.
Well, that was textbook there by the young Jones. He knew that he might not be able to get the rebound, but just concentrated, didn't let Kirilenko get it. And you know, the Jazz don't want to get in a shooting contest with the Suns, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Is the Suns are doing a good job of backing off, making the Jazz take tough jumpers.
And returning to the Suns lineup, Steve Nash at the 6:10 mark here of the fourth quarter. And a player who's become very prominent off the bench, Leandro Barbosa, heads to the Pine. Suns just 3 of 13 from the field, and yet still lead by 6 here in the fourth. Raja rising up, gets it over to Marion, and it falls for the Matrix. Suns lead is up to 8. Suns trying to go 2-0 on the road this season. After a very slow start, which they missed their first 7 shots, and now the 8-point lead is down to 6. The J by Okur. Nash breaks free. Steve Nash, brilliant move to the hoop.
Just a great move. That time used the core zone body to rub off the point guard. Nobody came over on the weak side for the Jazz. Kirilenko a little bit too late. Steve Nash with the teardrop.
4th field goal for Nash. 8 points, 10 assists. Kirilenko rains the 3-pointer. Not known to shoot from far away, but a timely big shot there by Kirilenko. Under 5 to play here in the fourth. 2-man game between Nash and Diaw. Morris rolls. Raja fires. Too strong. Suns 43% from the field in this one. Utah at a 40% clip. Darren Williams. Oh, a free pass right down the lane for the rookie from Illinois.
There had to be some kind of miscommunication there as nobody stepped up for the Suns, and Darren Williams just took it all the way to the basket uncontested.
Nash going to work on Williams. Gets a step. Help from Kirilenko. Surveying, searching, finding Jones. Back iron over the backboard, out of bounds. And a timeout on the floor. 4:18 to go. Suns lead 84-81. Back-to-back threes, won by Phoenix at the cool hands of James Jones. And then an unlikely three-point shooter in Kirilenko.
Unlikely is right. This is his first made three-pointer of the year. Picked a good time to do it for the Jazz. Suns 84, Jazz 81.
84-81 Phoenix here in the fourth. Your seat cushion can be used as a flotation device. It's time for tonight's High Flyers feature presented by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the NBA. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. Thunder Dan.
Garachek shocking the world as he goes baseline, and then Mehmet Okur, and then Kirilenko doing what he does best. And then we're going to see Sean Marion again off the alley-oop, taking his flying act, and then Diaw going hard to the basket. We saw this in LA, Sean getting way above the rim and finishing it powerful with the 2 hands. So I think the nicest one was, I hate to say it, but Garachek baseline. We both looked at each other and said, where did that come from?
Wow, that's Sean Marion trampoline jam.
Yeah, but we see that every night.
In LA, it was exactly like the one in LA. We're just spoiled. Darren Williams passes up over to Garachek. Rebound to Steve Nash. Mike D'Antoni said, keep pushing all the way up until the 2-minute mark. Even with the lead, play like you're down 1. Diaw defended by Okur. Now it's Nash. Fakes past Williams. Beautiful pass inside. Bucket and 1 for 3D. Boris Diaw.
Just showing Steve Nash getting into the basket. Spoon feeding Diaw, who laid it in. Kirilenko a little late on the weak side. Wasn't able to get over there. Nash with a beautiful bounce pass. Kirilenko tried to get over the top. Hit Diaw right on top of the head.
The quickness of Diaw to find that position underneath the hoop against the slow-footed Okur.
Just like going to the dinner table. You know you're going to get fed.
All you need is that piece of beef on a stick.
Sausage on the school.
Brazilian food for Dan Marley last night. Diaw now with a dozen off the Suns bench. Harpering can't find the range. Crucial rebound there by Raja Bell. Here comes Boris, and he loses it. A trio of defenders. Darren Williams setting up Kirilenko, and Kirilenko.
All set up by Matt Harpering, hustling, getting back on the defensive end, was able to strip Boris Diaw. Jazz got the ball, went back. Williams to Kirilenko with a nice finish. You're going to see Matt Harpering get down there, got a hand on the ball, and Williams is off to the races. Waits for Kirilenko, nice bounce pass, goes up strong, takes the foul and lays it in.
Harpering and Williams there defensively. Very interesting. How did Darren Williams prepare for his first year in the NBA with the Jazz?
One got some more tattoos?
No. Actually, Jerry Sloan set up a meeting between Darren Williams and John Stockton in Spokane. So he went out to Spokane, spent 2 or 3 days with John Stockton, the master of this Utah system. Boris Diaw slicing down Main Street.
Just stop it, Boris. For Utah Jazz, you just want to back off and not let him get a lane to the basket, make him shoot a jump shot. Boris being very aggressive.
2 first-round picks and Boris. Boy, that deal is looking pretty sweet. So versatile for the Suns. 6-point lead after the Diaw drive. 2.5 to play. Williams has range. Scrapping to the board, Harpering, hold on. A foul down on the floor against Phoenix. Harpering had inside position, was held and fouled by James Jones. And we have a timeout with 2:29 to go. Suns in the penalty situation, so it's Matt Harpering to the line when we come back from the Delta Center.
Don't go anywhere.
'89-'83, Phoenix here in the fourth. Before the start of this one, the Suns activated second-year center Jared Reiner, a 7-footer with potential. The Suns sending their second-round pick, Dijon Thompson, to the NBDL to play for the Albuquerque Thunderbirds, who will be coached by Michael Cooper. Dijon, a second-round pick from UCLA, a Bruins MVP. And the Thunderbirds, by the way, the NBDL team, affiliated with not just the Phoenix Suns, but also the Sacramento Kings, the Seattle Sonics, and the Utah Jazz. And one other little side note, guess who a part owner of that team in Albuquerque is? Thunder Dan Marley. Andre Agassi. How about that?
Did not know that.
Coached by Cooper.
Reiner, one of those smart kids from Iowa. Go figure, I don't know how that happens, but valedictorian of his class. An all-around nice guy. Glad to have him aboard.
Suns also have Sherrod Ford here on the trip, recently signed.
And has been carrying around Brian Grant's guitar the whole time.
Did you notice that?
Yes, I did.
I thought Sherrod played the guitar, but no, alas.
Part of being a rookie.
Exactly, had to carry Brian Grant's guitar. 1 of 2 at the line for Harpering. The Jazz here tonight, 16 of 25 from the line. They've missed 9 free throws. The Suns are a perfect 9 of 9. Boris lays it up for Sean Marion. Boris Diaw has taken over this game here in the fourth quarter.
Simple as pick and roll. And like I said, Boris Diaw knows what to do with that basketball. Sean Marion, just throw it up around the rim and let Sean go get it.
Dishing, delivering the drives. Diaw doing it all. The Suns lead is 7. 3D. Kirilenko hooked out of there by Marion. 5 on the shot clock. Wild shot by Kirilenko. He still can't tip it home.
Again, Tony putting the reins on Nash there, knowing he's up by 7 with 1:43 to go. Didn't want to take a bad shot. Want a little bit of clock off. Hopefully get a good look at the basket here.
Nash off the Diaw screen. Still covered there by the rookie Williams, who tips it out of bounds.
Shot clock 5 seconds.
This Utah team really coveted Darren Williams in that draft. They gave up 3 number 1 picks in order to secure that number 3 overall selection. They gave up 2 picks from this last summer's draft, number 6 and number 27, going to Portland along with a conditional future first-round pick. That's how badly Jerry Sloan wanted a legitimate point guard here to run his show. And what did Portland do with those picks? They scooped up the high schooler, Martell Webster, and then Jarrett Jack with the 2 first-round picks in this past summer's draft.
Here's the last play with Boris and Marion. Just a simple pick and roll. Boris going to square up. Sean's going to get over, get a core, then roll to the basket. Diaw with a couple power dribbles, and then just a right-handed hook up towards the basket. Sean goes up and lays it in. Find the defense. I'm just switching that pick, making Boris stop and take a jump shot. I'm telling you, Boris very impressive with his playmaking abilities.
5 on the shot clock. Suns have to hurry. Raja open look on the pump fake, rebounded by Okur. Suns take on the Kings at home tomorrow night. 11 of their next 13 will be at home. Williams spinning, driving on Nash, comes up short. A scrum inside, tipped into the corner to the hands of Raja Bell. Utah has had their chances at the cup. Kirilenko on the drive, then Williams on the move, but they just wouldn't fall. Mike D'Antoni wanting a call. Giricek scraping away at Nash. Feeds Sean. Marion can't finish, but grabs the offensive rebound. Pull it back, milk the clock.
Well, D'Antoni's got a legitimate beat. These guys are just trying to steal the ball and do whatever they can, and the refs aren't calling any fouls.
It do, bruising.
Yeah, beautiful job by Sean Marion getting in there and getting the rebound and having the recognition of bringing it out to run some more time off the clock. And that's sending a lot of people here at the Dell Center out to the cold weather.
Snow on the ground this morning here in
Wasn't
Salt
too cold,
Lake
though,
City.
because I teed it up, baby. Ball in the air at 9 o'clock.
And skimmed $20 off our guy, Vinny Del Negro. Way to go, even though.
Who didn't know that?
I always have to sneak that in as Dan looks over his shoulder to his radio counterpart, Vinny Del Negro.
It's become my own little ATM, Vinny.
You'll lose that in about 20 minutes on the flight back home tonight.
I'm the master.
The master and commander. Nash, cash.
Nash still perfect from the line this year.
And the Suns perfect from the stripe all night. 11 for 11.
And the Road Warriors continue.
They couldn't win 31 on the road again, could they? I don't know. That was ridiculous last season, but they will start 2-0 on the road. And get ready for the Sacramento Kings, waiting in the wings in Phoenix, most likely watching and taping this broadcast to prepare for this Suns team. Sacramento starting out 0-2 this season. A loss to the Hornets and then to the Rockets, and a very slow start for former Shadow Mountain High star Mike Bibby in the shooting department. Bound to pick up. There were many so-called experts out there who said Sacramento would be the team to win the Pacific Division. Nash, Marion, and company have something to say about that, while they bide their time and Amari Men's for the next 4 months. And they'll go ahead and send Steve Nash right back to the line. Had his point total, 12 points, 11 assists. Sean Marion, another spectacular line of 20 points, 14 rebounds for the Matrix.
I was going to say, the two captains doing it again, both with double-doubles. And Nash still not really finding his stroke yet, but doing a good job of getting everybody else involved. And Phoenix has found a way to come and win on the road. Their style of play is a good way to keep a lot of these these crowds at these home places out of the game, because they're so electric. They come down, they run their gun, they let it fly, and they keep the crowd out of it.
Suns embark on that 5-game homestand, starting with Sacramento, and then it's Detroit, Golden State, Memphis, and this Utah team to follow. The Jazz head out tomorrow on a 4-game Eastern Conference road trip, beginning in Charlotte against the Bobcats. Then it's New Jersey, Toronto, and Chicago upcoming for the Utah Jazz. Kirilenko past Nash, final seconds, inside Harpering. And that should be the final scoring of this one here at the Delta Center. Down go the Utah Jazz. The Suns now 2-0. D'Antoni and company with a very slow start, missing their first 7 shots of the night. But then they rally. Nash and Marion coming alive in the second half, and Boris Diaw with the punch off the bench.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Phoenix came out a little slow, but Nash and Marion brought it home strong. Diaw, great time. You know what? The Suns 2-0 on the road. 97-88. Let's get out of the Delta Center. Texas Hold'em coming up next for Marley and the crew.
Holla.
Holla back.